Lightning Network can be incredibly scary and overwhelming if you are just starting out, but it doesn't have to be. In fact, if you have the right tools at your disposal and you know how to use those tools effectively, not only will it bring down the entire feeling of recklessness, but also it will allow you to better run your node, make better decisions about your routing, and grow and succeed as a routing node. Stick around because in this video, I'm going to show you one of my favorite tools for doing just that. In a previous video, I talked about 26 of my favorite tools for running your Lightning node as a beginner. And I shared a couple different options for Lightning Network Explorers, these kinds of websites that allow you to look at different nodes and their channels and get a better understanding of the situation and how you might want to connect to them, what they're doing, and so on. Now, in that video, I was a little bit unfair to Amboss because I did say that it is my second most used, but that's not because it is the second best or because it has the second best list of features. In fact, Amboss is an incredible tool, which is the most feature-rich of all of the different Lightning Explorers out there. And that's why today I want to focus in this video on how you can better use Amboss.space, why I use it, how you can set up different new features that they've been coming out with, and just generally the different tools within it that you can use to make better decisions about how you run your Lightning node. Now, what blows my mind about Amboss is it's literally only a few months old, and yet in that time, it has already far surpassed other Lightning Network Explorers such as 1ML or Fiat Jaff in terms of its functionality. So really quickly, let's go ahead and do an overview of the features of Amboss.space. The first thing that you'll notice about Amboss is that it does not offer you rankings like some of the other different Lightning Explorers might. It doesn't offer you lists of who's ranking where. It doesn't offer you an overall grade or score such as Terminal Web does, but it does give you so much more feature-rich information and data. The first thing you'll notice is there are, again, no lists, but you can go in to any node that you see or search different nodes. For example, one of my favorite, Sideways RAM, and go in and see the exact details of Sideways RAM's different channels, functionalities, dates, and so on. So let's dive deep into understanding exactly what is happening with Sideways RAM and his node. The first thing you'll notice is we have an entire summary of all his different capacity, how many channels, when he was updated, his biggest channel, his smallest channel, the average size channel. These are powerful different metrics to understand the growth and capacity of a particular Lightning Network node, but they're not particularly unique, and they are offered in 1ML in various different places. Again, we have the opportunity here, if you claim your node, and I'll be covering that later on in the video with a full tutorial, you have the opportunity to share contact information or a little bit about your node. And I highly recommend if you do want to get inbound channels, you want to create connections, you want to build relationships in Lightning Network, fill that stuff out. What's really cool about Amboss, again, we'll come to this later, you don't have to open a channel to claim your node. So there really is no cost to you. Now, one quick note that I want to add here, and it is a lot of people wonder why their node doesn't show up on Amboss or any other Lightning Explorer. And the reason for that is really simple. In order for your node to show up, it has to be participating in the gossip or the different communication between Lightning nodes. How does that happen? Well, you have to open channels with someone else and they will communicate the existence of your node. So if you're not seeing your node on Amboss.space or any other Lightning Explorer, it's because you have not yet opened up a channel or you only recently opened up a channel. You'll then just need to wait a little bit longer until the gossip permeates throughout the Lightning Network and your channel will show up immediately thereafter or shortly thereafter. Here's another thing that I really love about Amboss is it gives you a visualization of exactly the channels, so you don't have to scroll through in the way that you do on 1ML. I can visually see all the different channels, their capacity, and how many channels those nodes have. So really cool feature. Then I can go in a much more beautiful interface than any of the other block explorers or lightning explorers that I've seen, and see the exact channels and see exactly how much other people are charging and how much this node is charging to interact with those channels. What are the fees? What are the base fees? What's the opening cost? What's the capacity? And I can then go in and sort and say, okay, I want to understand what exactly are the fees that this person is charging. Well, what's the base fee and what is the rate? And I can see by showing not only Sideways Ram's fees, but also the peers' fees, that Sideways Ram is actually offering pretty reasonable fees. Again, some of them are a little bit expensive, but on the whole, most of them are pretty reasonable. And I like that. I don't really like to partner with people who make Lightning networks super expensive. I feel that the importance and success of Lightning networks supersedes the short-term need for profit. So I want to partner with people who share that belief and give really, really reasonable routing fees. In addition to that, I can look at the peer routing rate again and see what are peers charging to route to this person. And we can see here that AZ Hodl, as usual, has a little bit higher fees than me. And we can see that most of the channels actually are not charging super high fees to work with Sideways RAM. So that's just a little bit of granular detail about the node itself, giving us an idea of who is charging what, which gives us an indication of what it might be like for us to actually work with this node. So I love this tool. It's great for researching and determining exactly what I can expect when I partner with this node. And while it doesn't specifically tell me what the flow in and out of the node is, because that's of course private, it does give me an indication of the market behaviors of the people who have already partnered with this node, which can kind of tell me a little bit about what they feel is going on. You can see here some graphs and charts showing the channels and capacity growth, which is really, really valuable. And then we get to one of my favorite parts. You see, before I connect to any node, I want to understand what their fees are. If their fees are exorbitant, well, chances are that I'm not going to be able to earn much routing to them because they're already claiming so much in fees, and there's probably not going to be a whole lot of traffic coming to my node. So I love that I'm able to see not only their outgoing fees and how much they are charging to send, and you can see Sideways RAM is reasonable, maybe a little bit on the expensive side, but very reasonable. I can also see their incoming fees and see who is charging what to send to them. And that allows me to get an idea of whether or not they're a liquidity sink, whether or not people feel that their channel moves traffic back and forth, because if the fees are very, very high, it's an indication to me that people put a premium on that channel, most likely because it is a liquidity sink and because they're not able to get the channel to rebalance, or they're spending a lot on rebalancing. Another new feature is the community metrics, showing you the betweenness with an explanation here, the hopness rank, and the hubness rank. These are sorts of metrics that tell you just how well connected the node is, how much of a hub it is, and how many different hops it takes to get around. Here you'll have the BOZ report. Of course, there are very few nodes, 289 right now, nodes on the BOZ list, and it'll show you the history of the node's alias. The next feature I want to share is one that a lot of people get confused about, and that is claiming your node and logging in. There's a lot of benefits to logging in. One is the ability to save favorites, but most importantly is the ability to add a little bit of information about your node, including contact information, which will allow you to communicate with people, try and encourage them to open channels with you, negotiate different swaps, and much, much more. Now, a lot of people, especially if they're new, don't understand how to log in. So I'm going to go ahead and show you really, really quickly. All you have to do is click login, and unlike 1ML, there is no need to open a channel and tie up funds with Amboss. They'll simply give you a code that they want you to sign with a unique character string. What you then do is copy that and find a different way, there are many different ways to do this, to actually sign that message with your node's private keys. Now, it's important to note that signing this message in no way reveals your private keys. It just allows them to see that whoever owns your private keys was able to encrypt the message in a very specific way, thereby proving your ownership of the node. Once you've done that, all you need to do is go into a utility such as ThunderHub, where you have an easy tool, especially if you're not familiar with command line and don't want to go into the command line of your LND to actually sign the message. Simply go to Tools and click Sign Message. You then paste that message in, and hit sign. And that's it. You take that, copy it, move back, and paste here. You can then decide if you want to keep this session open for 1 session, 1 week, or 1 month, and hit log in. Once you hit log in, boom, you have claimed your node, and you now have the ability to completely edit all of the details, add favorites, and that session will stay in the browser that you are in with a cookie so that you don't have to log in for an entire month, which is pretty cool and pretty valuable. Now, I want to draw your attention to something very, very new that has only recently come out, and that is these tags. Amboss has recently added the ability to add a tag to your node, and these tags serve a couple of different functions. First and foremost, you can see here that there are tags for communities. This is a way to show that you are active and a participant in various different communities across the web and across the Lightning sphere, as I like to call it. You can see here that Sideways Ram is a member of Plebnet, one of the Telegram groups that I shared in my previous video, which is very, very popular. You can then see and browse who are some of the other people that are involved in that Telegram group. Now, there are communities for all different kinds of communities that exist outside of Amboss space, and you can join them simply by requesting to join. You will then need to go ahead and post the request to join in that Telegram group or Reddit group or wherever, and you will need people to authorize that you are a member of the group. It will change depending on how many people are in the group. It will change how many people need to authorize and approve you. But if you just message in the group, most likely people will approve you to join and you'll be good to go. Now, as you'll note, there are many, many different communities here, as you can see on the right. The Rings of Fire Telegram group, Lightning NL, Diamond Hands, Plebnet, Cheese Robot, Reddit Mega Thread. There are all kinds of communities that you can join just to demonstrate your support and that you are a member of those communities so other people can find you and interact with you. Most recently, they've also added a new tag for merchants. As you can see, it is not very, very developed. However, you can see that this is a place for you to find actual merchants accepting Lightning Network in case you want to connect to them and provide them with some inbound liquidity, which is very, very important for people receiving payments. Again, right now, not a whole lot of people in this community, but hopefully by the time you see this video, there will be many more merchants that you can interact with. So that's just a quick tutorial on how to use Amboss.space, but I would love to know below, what do you think? Is this the best Lightning Network Explorer? Do you agree with me that it is? How are you using it differently from me? I'd love to hear your experience and any of the tools that you feel that I should cover or haven't talked about in past videos. Once again, thank you for watching and happy hodling.